Recording again. Screen. All right, am I sharing? All right, here we go. So once again, we have the project navigator, just like you have in your project. And under constructs, he's got a drawing, which is called sections. And this is the drawing in here. This is where we do all our drawings. Now, in his case, back then I was saying it was all right to create the breaks right on this construct. But I asked you guys to draw it like this, which is full height, without the breaks. So this actually could be extended all the way through. So with that said, let's evaluate what we've got happening right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the constructs. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the main floor plan. And I'm going to show you where that stair section is cut through. That stair section is going to be cut right through here, right through this stair. And we're going to be looking to the left. So if I was to create a section line right now, what we're doing is we are cutting through here and we are looking in that direction. So when you look at your section, that's what we're seeing. Here's the basement. Here's the main level, and this is the stair going to the upper level. So what we're going to do is follow pretty much the same procedure that we did before. I'm going to go ahead and start from our main level. And I'm going to draw a guideline. I'm going to put it in depth points. From top of subfloor, draw over to the right. Then I'm going to go ahead and offset it 9 feet up and 9 feet down. Now you notice, unlike the other drawing for the sections, this matches exactly what it needs to match for our floor-to-floor heights. We don't really need to show all the way to the roof because there's nothing informative about the stair at that point. So the first thing I want to do is, once again, take a look at the main level and see what the extent of our stair is going to be. What we want is the stair to go from the side of this wall right here. That is our last riser. And our first riser is going to be right here at the bottom. The big questions are, we know what our vertical height is. Everyone's going to have the exact same vertical height floor to floor. It's 9 feet. Converting that to inches, it's 108 inches. What we all may have slightly different, because you've all modified your plans a little bit, is your horizontal distance or your run of your stair. The other thing that's extremely important is, well, how much space we have at the landing of the stair on the floor. Ideally, we want a minimum of 3 feet. If I was to take a measurement right now from here to the wall on the main, we have a measurement of 3 foot 6 inches. So we're more than okay at that point. But the problem is that is not our most critical horizontal run. If we were to insert right now and do an attachment, let's see if we already have it. Let's go ahead and attach our basement level. Looks like it's already loaded. Basement. And I'm going to reload that one. And we can take a look at our basement, what it looks like. If you notice, when you have the basement loaded, you have another wall. Because remember, you have your 12-inch wall in the front, plus you have that 4-inch wall that is in the front of the basement. So if you look at the basement, we have this 12-inch wall, and then we have 4 inches. So our distance from this wall, which lines up with the main, to here is actually less. So that means that this distance is less. So if we were to calculate this distance from here to here, we can just annotate. Let's go ahead and add a dimension. We got 14 feet, 10 inches. Now, what we do want is that 3 feet here, minimum. And that's so if somebody's coming down the stairs, they have sufficient, if they got a little bit of speed, they got sufficient time or space where they're not going to smash into the wall. So we're going to give it 3 feet here. So we're going to take 1410 and we are going to take out 3 feet. That's going to leave you with 11 feet, 10 inches. Now we're going to convert that to inches. So how much does that end up being? Anybody? Simple math, 142 inches, okay? Correct? 12 feet times 12 is 144, 12 times 12. This is 11 foot 10, take 2 inches off, 142. Okay, so let's go back to our section. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to our main for a second first. And now we know that our distance from here to the last riser is going to be 11 feet, 10 inches or 142 inches. So let's go ahead and let's go to our section drawing. And I'm going to draw a line. And again, I'm still in def points because these are just guidelines. And that's going to represent the inside face of my wall right here. Let's go back to the sections. And I'm going to offset this 132 inches. And so right inside of this rectangle, 9 feet high by 11 foot 10 inches, I'm going to do my rise and run. So what you need to do is when you have 9 feet vertical, you need to count the number of risers that you're going to be using. So if you were to take, obviously a riser can't be a half a riser or 3/4 of a riser, you need a full riser. So it's got to be a whole number. So take 108, we can use our calculators. See if I can bring it in here. So I'm going to take 108 and divide by, let's say 13 at this point. That would be 13 risers. That means that each riser would be 8.3 inches high. That's a little bit too high. You really want to get a range of between 6.5 to 7.5, somewhere in there. Ideally right around 7 inches. It can be a little bit more, it can be a little less. Now, this is a single family residential house, so you have a lot of leeway. You can go up as high as 8 inches for a riser and as short as 9 inches for a tread. Typically, we want to be around 7 and 10. That ratio has been considered a relatively comfortable ratio, maybe a little bit more than 10. The goal and code also says that your rise and run ratio has to be as follows. 2 risers plus 1 tread must equal somewhere between 24 and 25 with those numbers included. So if you have a 7-inch riser, 2 of them would be 14 and 1 tread of 10 inches would be 24. You're within range. If the tread was 11, that would be 25 and you'd still be within range. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to find a number that the 108 can be divided by that'll give us something close to 7. So let's go ahead and let's divide 108 again. This time let's divide by 15 and we get 7.2. That's exactly what we want. So we know that the number of risers that we're going to have from floor to floor is going to be 7.2 inches, and we're going to have 15 risers. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out all of this out. So I'm left with a clean rectangle. Right in here. This is 108 inches. I'm going to take this line because it's now the full 108 inches. I'm going to use the divide command, typing in divide. I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to put in 15 for the number of segments. Now, if you notice, it's created what we call nodes. So make sure in your snaps, object snaps down below, that you have node activated. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw lines across from each node, the perpendicular on the other side. Once you have a couple drawn, you can just copy the next node, whoops, next node. Copy, or I could just draw the line. Now, I suggest that you guys read the chapter on stairs. It's chapter 39. So you get a better understanding of what are the parts of a stairway that you need to include in your drawing. All right, so now we have each one of these represents a riser. So we end up with 15 risers. That's going to get us from the basement to the main level and from the main level up to the upper level. All right, so if we have 15 risers, how many treads do you have? It's the exact same thing as the number of stairs to the number of stories. So you have one less. So we know that we're going to have 14 treads. And this is where we have to think about our ratio, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the horizontal length, which we said was 142 inches. And I'm just going to take that line that's 142 inches. I'm going to type in divide again. And this time, the number that I'm going to use is 14. Okay, let's try that again. Divide, select my line, 14, enter. And there's my nodes. All right, so let's go ahead. Here. I'm going to go ahead and copy these. Here. Here. And this one. There's that. All right. So I've got sort of a grid laid out in here. This time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch to another layer. I'm going to go ahead and go to G detail thin. Actually, I'm just going to start with my layer 0 for now. And I'm going to start drawing what's called the stringer of the stair. Now, if you read the chapter, which I hadn't asked you to do it before, you'll know what a stringer is. A stringer is the support for the stairway. It's actually where you place your tread on top of, and you place your riser up against it. And it looks like a diagonal piece of wood going from first to second level, and it's got a sawtooth cut out into it. So if I was to go ahead and go right in here and type in wood stair stringer and do some images, this is what the stringer looks like. Typically, this is somewhat like what we're going to have on this stair. This is the wood stringer. We're going to have a midpoint, and then we have another one on each side of the stairs. What you see right in here is your tread, and what you see coming up is your riser. So this is what's called a stringer, and it's very, very important that we get this thing accurate. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start drawing. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to start here and we're going to draw up. Just continuing along this line. I could copy it up and bring it across. I'm going to let it go this way. Okay. So the last tread of the stair occurs here because your floor is going to act as your landing right up in here. So you're going to step down here and continue this way. All right, so this represents the top, the part of the stair that's been cut. Now, what we need to know is what the thickness or what type of wood we had. So I'm going to draw a line from the tip to tip, and I'm going to offset this down what the size of the lumber that we're using. So if we use a 2x12 for our stringers, that means that I'm going to offset it 11¼ inches. That's the actual dimension of a 2x12. So I'm going to go back up to offset and I'm going to do 11.25. And I'm going to offset that down in here. Now I can delete this line. And this represents your stringer. I'm just going to go ahead and extend it. Let's go ahead and extend. And I'm going to trim this guy. Okay. All right, so technically I don't need these lines anymore. And I'm just going to close off my stringer right here. And we'll draw another line across and offset that one. 9 feet. Okay, so there's my upper floor. And now here's what I can do. Since I already drew my floors here, there's no sense in redrawing everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take from my wall section, I'm going to take these elements here, including this element right in here, and I'm going to copy it from this point. Copy it up to here. I'll go ahead and draw a guideline right in here. And I'm going to move this from here to here. All right. My guidelines in there. I can get rid of the nodes if they get in the way. All right, so this is your floor, your 2x10 joists of the main level. This is going to represent your top of slab for your lower level. So we can actually take this, extend it out to here. I'm going to go ahead and change its layer to G detail wide or medium. Now his colors are a little bit different. And just like we did in our wall section, we know that it's a 4-inch thick slab going across like that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw our 2x4 wall. Again, this is not in section, so I'm going to use G detail thin. And I'm going to draw a line from here. Represents the structure. And I'm going to offset that 3.5 inches, which represents a 2x4 wall. Now, once again, you've already drawn all of this. If you have a 4-inch wall somewhere in here, just go ahead and use it. Copy it from your section. But we don't. We have a 2x6. So I need to go to my detail component. I'm going to go to wood and plastics, wood framing, nominal cut lumber, find a 2x4. Insert the component. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place it. I'm going to rotate. I'm going to go ahead and copy it because we do need 2 plates at the top. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy from here to here. And then we need a sill plate or a sole plate at the bottom. So I'm going to copy this and copy it from there down to here. I'm not putting any additional finishes on this yet. Notice I've already got the drywall, which I brought in from my other wall section, and I brought in the plywood. So this plywood is 3/4 inch thick. All my treads are going to be 3/4 inch thick, and my risers are going to be a 1/2 inch thick, coming up like that. What is important is that each step remain almost identical. You do not want a variation. That causes tripping because people's minds and their brains work in a certain way that they get used to and expecting to put their foot down at a certain point, or, you know, to have a little extra room. And if they run into something that's different, it becomes a hazard. And you definitely don't want to be tumbling down the stairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to G detail medium, and I'm going to draw my tread. I'm just going to, let's go ahead and turn that on so we can. All right, so I'm going to make the tread. For now, let's make it 11 inches and tab 3/4 inch high. Now, this is also kind of important. Let's take a look at what we've done here. He's got this situation right in here where he has the riser put in first and then the tread hits up against it. I'm not sure which way is the correct way to do it, but I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this guy right to here. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw my riser. First, I'm going to pull this back a little bit. Move this. Move that back to there. This, by the way, represents, go ahead and copy this. This represents the top of our floor joist. This represents the subfloor right in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy from here to the next. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw my riser right in here, and my riser is going to be a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to draw this. I'm going to say 1/2 inch, and then tab. I'm just going to click anywhere right in there. I'm going to go ahead and move this, and I'm going to place it right in here. And I got really lucky, but I'm going to pull that up so that it matches clearly. And there is my riser. Now, the distance you want from here to here is 1 inch. And that should be, that's what's called a nosing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a guideline here. And I'm going to offset it 1 inch. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring my, tread to that point. Close this out. And I'm going to recopy this guy here to this point right here. Okay, now I can just duplicate this and copy it all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this one and this one, and I'm just going to start copying this down. I'll have to put one in there. And this is the last one. Now I'm going to leave this up like this because what we're going to draw in here is going to be a hidden line, which is the same as this one. You can actually copy it if you want. And I'm going to place it right here. Now this distance here should be 3/4 of an inch, and it is, which matches our treads. So if you actually took a measurement from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to here, they should all measure the exact same thing. So there's our 7.2 inch riser, which in fractions is 7 3/16. If we were to do the same thing in here, go to distance, from there to our tread, 7 3/16. Now, the only one that's different so far is this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy one of these up here. And this is debatable whether to do it this way or not. And I'm also going to copy one of these. Okay. And so you notice that there's a little bit of a differential there, right? Oops, which one did I copy? This one. And so let me go ahead and I'm going to be moving this one up the thickness of our subfloor, which is 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this back. I really didn't need to stretch that one out. And then now this represents our, well, let me move this down. Careful to get all your snaps right. Like we're a little bit off there. All these are just a little bit off. And then this would represent the finished floor at the top. And I can just stretch this out this way, whatever depth we want. And I want to make sure that this distance right here is also 1 inch. I can take a line right here and offset that 1 inch. And just pull this guy right to here. And I basically got my first stair almost completely done. Now let's continue and let's see what we got happening on this wall. This is actually what's called a bearing wall. Okay, a bearing wall means that it's taking load. So this is a 2x4, means that your studs need to be closer together. We're going to go ahead and put drywall on both sides of it. So I can go to the detail components. Wait till it opens up. Open this up a little bit bigger. Now, if you remember, let's close this up, the wood framing and the wood. We're going to go to finishes. We're going to go to gypsum wallboard. Okay, not plastering, gypsum board, gypsum wallboard, and we're going to do 1/2 inch gypsum wallboard. Insert component. We're going to start down here. I'm going to go ahead and Y flip. Okay, I already started, so can't do that. I'm going to move it. Just snap correctly. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this up to here and put my other drywall here. Okay. I can now copy this. Copy it from here to there. Okay, anybody know what this is underneath the stair? Think about your plan. What do we have in the basement underneath the stair? There's a little closet there, right? All right, so this is where we have a closet down below. And so we do want to finish it with drywall. So we're going to end up putting drywall across it here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put what's called a 2x4 nailer right here so that we don't have to bring our drywall to this awkward point right here. So it's going to go up, cut across, and come down. Now that's very important also because you can't get a tool in there to put the final fasteners onto the edge of the drywall up in this corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a support wall here, which represents the end of our closet. Again, if we go to the basement, this is a closet right here. Okay. Let's go back to the wall section. Now in his, he didn't draw the door yet, but we're going to go ahead and draw the door. So let's go ahead and let's draw where this wall would be on the wall section. So let's go to the basement. Let's measure a distance from here to here. We got 6'2". We're going to go back to the sections and take this line and we're going to offset it 6'2". We're going to go ahead and draw another wall right there. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And it too is a 2x4 wall. I'm going to offset that 3.5 inches. Now it is not a bearing wall. So I could get away with one top plate. Now what I do want is I do want a blocking in here so that we don't have an open condition from here to here. So if you take a look at his section, he's got a piece of blocking right in here. And so we could technically use this one. We can place it anywhere in there. That's a little bit too big. So we'll probably want to switch this maybe to, if we hover over it, we know this is a 2x10, we could probably get away with 2x6. I'm just going to copy one from over here. Copy this to the top of the wall. This one somewhere here. And I can stretch this. bring this over. So everything doesn't matter too much. I'm going to go ahead and trim this out. So there's our wall right there. And now I can take drywall. I'm going to copy it there. This. Here. This down. Copy this one. Copy it from this point. Copy it right to here. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. Keep it pretty. All right. Rotate. I'm going to use this base point. Go to reference. My reference angle is straight up and down. My new angle is here, and that just switches it over. Go ahead and stretch this down from there to there. And bring this one up to here. Go ahead and bring this up. Now remember, out in the field, they're not going to be cutting things perfect, but they're going to get pretty good. So this will probably be going to something like that. All right, now we can stretch this guy up here. Stretch from this point. I need to take off my ortho. I'm going to bring this about to here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and draw my kicker there, which is just going to be a 2x4. So I'm going to draw, it's not going to be in section, so I'm going to use a different layer. Let's do G detail thin. Rectangle. The length doesn't matter. The height is going to be 3.5. And I'm going to place it right here. It's going to get nailed to one of the studs there. And then this side, put my ortho back on, gets nailed to the stringers. Now, if I wanted a little bit more headroom, I could move this just a little bit more, but I want to make sure I have enough room in here to get my tools in there. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch this up to about here. Up to there. And now I just need to copy another one. Go ahead and copy this one because it's horizontal. There. Stretch it. About there. Remove all these items. And stretch this one about there. All right, so I've got this pretty well done. The only exception is if I want baseboards in here. Go ahead and delete that out of there. And I'm going to show a door in here. Now, this is where on your schedule, you probably have a regular 6/8 door going in there. You don't have the headroom. So all you need to go is to highlight that wall. I mean, that door, click on it and change it to how much headroom you think you're going to have. Maybe a 5-foot door, 5 foot tall, maybe less. All right. Once you change it, you then need to update your schedule, your door schedule. Your door schedule should update automatically, but it's going to ask you to update it. Okay. It'll have it like a diagonal line across it. All right. So we're pretty well done with this down at the bottom. The only thing we also want to do is we want to get another 2x6 or 2x4. I'm going to use a 2x6. Let's copy it again from here. We want to place it down here. This is what we call a kicker. It actually stops the stair stringer from sliding this way because this is anchored to the slab right in here. Now, the one thing I did mention is that this is a bearing wall. That means it's putting a lot of load and pressure right onto that slab, and it's only a 4-inch slab. You actually need to create another footer in there. I think the book calls for 18 by 15. So it's probably 18 deep by about 15 wide. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from the midpoint here. I'm going to go down 18 inches. And I'm going to go 7.5 in one direction. I'm going to go ahead and draw a vertical line in here. And I'm going to mirror that right here. Now we can also draw a line, let's say from about this point, F8, and we're going to tab over to 45 degrees. We're going to mirror it, just like what we did to the other one. Ortho back on. And we can trim this out. And delete the remainder. I'm going to go ahead and go to match properties. Get the little paintbrush. Okay, and there's my footer. Now I'm going to go ahead and close it off so I can hatch it. So I'm just going to draw a line right here. We may have to cut that back a little bit more. And another one right here. I'm going to go ahead, go to G detail pattern. Go to hatch. Find my architectural concrete. I'm at 3/4 inch already, and I'm just going to hatch right in there. There's my hatch. Now I'm just going to bring this into here. There. Okay. We got our finished floor. If he drew baseboards in here, which he did, just copy them over. If you want the baseboard inside that little closet, just to finish it off, just put your baseboards right in there. Copy this one. Copy to there. Okay. All right, so we're pretty much done. The only thing I want to do is lay out that stringer that's right here, the blocking. So I can use this same guy that we have. Remember, this is the same floor as this. And I'm going to place it right there as that blocking. All right, so this is an enclosed space. It's got your drywall. We can put in our tools right in there. We've got this. Okay. Here's my next floor right up in here. What am I going to do? Why bother redraw everything, right? We've already got most of it done right here. Okay. We do not need to copy it over again or draw it over again. Let's go ahead and take this and I'm going to copy. I'm going to remove the parts I do not need. Let's take that out for now. I am going to need my drywall. I need all of this. I'm going to need a kicker also. Probably won't need this, but it's going to be easier to copy it at this point. So now I'm just going to go from top of subfloor top of subfloor. And that's pretty straightforward. All right. Now what I can also do is I can take this guy and I can mirror it over. Okay. Now, remember, this is basement to main level. Your front door is somewhere over in here. So we're stepping in this way. So there is a floor here, and it actually stops right here. So if you go to your main floor, that floor right here has support members right underneath it to this point, right about this point. And then there's an open hole underneath here, okay? That leads down because the basement stair is coming down this way. So what we need to do is we need to establish our supports for that. You look at your section, you look at his section, he's got what we call 2 2x10, and that's called a girder. It spans between floor joists and actually replaces, these floor joists don't go all the way across, so they hit up against this guy. And they are 2x10s. So let's go ahead and let's copy this guy over. It's a 2x10. I'm going to bring that right to this point. Okay. We're going to copy it again. We're going to move it a little bit more because I'm going to bring my plywood this point, right to this point, and I'm going to move these guys over here. I'm going to go ahead and just layer 0, even though I'm going to change it later, and I can just draw from here to here. All right, so these floor joists right in here butt into there, and they actually are put on top of a hanger. That hanger is this element right here. Whoops, this guy right here. If you look in the front of the classroom, we have something that's like that. It's a floor joist hanger. So all you really need to do is to copy it. And let's bring it from there. Right to there. And it actually supports this member right here. All right, this guy should have extended all the way over to here. Let's go ahead and remove this. We don't need any one of those. And we have the same thing happening right in here that we had here. So I can copy this straight up. Copy these two elements and this element here to there. And I'm almost done in here. Now, sometimes what they'll do is they'll put a little header down in here. I'll show you how he did it in his. Okay, there's his double header. He's got a space going here, and then he's got a 4x6 piece of wood right here. Okay, that's called a header. So if we look at his sheet, okay, up at the top here, got this laid out this way. In this case, he ended up just doing framing that went down at that point. So let's look at the sections and let's continue. Now, if all your doors are 6'8", you may want to put a header that comes down here at about 6'8" or 7 feet. So I'm going to bring this down in here, and I'm going to offset this about 7 feet from there. And that's going to represent the bottom of that header that I've got going across here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from here. This disappears here. So I'm going to take my drywall and I'm going to bring it across the same way here and bring it down and back up to here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it straight up till it hits somewhere right about here. And then I can take this and pull it in a little bit more. And I can take this, pull it back, stretch my drywall, take my ortho off, there. My ortho back on, put it right there. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's get some more drywall. Copy. And this is a nice short piece right here. Grab it right from here. Pick it up to there. Get rid of the baseboard. Get rid of that. And this can get wrapped around. There. I'll take this, I'm going to copy it. There it is. And I'm going to copy this guy. Stretch this over. Okay, that looks pretty good. We could probably make part of this hidden lines and so on. Keep this line going through there. That's kind of important. There's our upper floor. There's our main floor. And so we're getting pretty well done. By the way, there is a line. We can draw this in a G detail. Let's draw a G detail line also. That actually occurs right here. It goes all the way down to here. That's where your wall is, and then this is where it opens up to the living room. Your fireplace is somewhere over here. Okay, what's next? Next thing is we got to find out where that wall occurs over here. And that wall is going to occur in your upper level. So let's open up our construct, upper level. Our stairwell is located right here. And this wall is where the stairway goes under. So as you're walking down, you can probably put your hand up and hit that wall right there. What you don't want is for your head to hit it. Okay, so we got to make sure that we got enough head clearance at that point. The thing that we do have to find out is exactly where that wall is. If once again, I was to take my X refs and reload the main, and we take a look at it, okay, we can see that that bearing wall in the main level right here lines up with this wall right here, okay? This one happens to be, they drew it at 6 inches for whatever reason, but they didn't need it. So what we can do is take a measurement from here to this wall, all right? This wall right here is the wall that stretches across to where the toilet and the bidet is. So let's do a measurement. Do our distance. And we know from here to here. Let's look for our vertical dimension. That's at a diagonal. We don't want that. And that distance is 9 foot 9 inches. All right, let's see what we've got. All right, so I'm going to draw a guideline. And what we were measuring from was here. I'm going to offset 9 foot 9 in this direction. That means that our wall is located right here. I can offset that. Let's go ahead and let's draw it as a line, but using, I guess we could use that one. Let's undo that for a second. And I'm going to turn that on. Okay, the other thing that we can do again is we can just take this. We could take it all the way to our 9. Okay, notice it's the top of the subfloor. Top of the subfloor is at that point. I'm going to knock this out. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to offset that to 3.5 for that wall. And I'm going to copy. In fact, I'm going to copy the drywall. Copy all of this, except for this guy. And I'm going to copy it from here. Right to there. I don't need this anymore. All right, so how do we know what my headroom is there? The minimum headroom that's allowed is 6 foot 8 inches. So what you need to do is from nosing to nosing on this upper stairway, you're going to copy this straight up. You're not going to offset it. You're going to copy it. Copy. And I'm going to copy this up 6 foot 8. And hopefully we have room. Luckily we do. Barely, but we have plenty of room. Okay. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can now create framing right here and wrap this guy around here. And then we can get drywall underneath this guy. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's copy our horizontal drywall. I'm going to place it here, and I'm also going to place it underneath this one. I need to place drywall here and drywall underneath this step going up like that. We already got it here. I'm going to turn off my ortho. Bring that to here, and then I can get my vert. Okay, so we got that in here. Let's double check this one down here. Draw a line from nosing. Got that wrong, so I'm just drag that up. And again, I'm going to copy. This is just a check, the 6 foot 8. And we just made it here, okay? So we're pretty good on in terms of the dimensions that we've got it here. So that's going to work out. The next thing that we can do is we can always offset this. Again, if you look at the book and the section, the typical height for the railings is about 34 to 36 inches from this same line right here that we did. So I can copy this guy. Let's put it at 34. And let's make it about 2 inches. So this time I'm going to go ahead and offset. I'm going to offset 1.5. and that's going to be my railing offset, and I can just copy this guy up. And of course, we'll close it off later on. But for now, let's just copy it. And let's copy it from this nosing to this nosing. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and draw our framing here. And if you take a look at the way he did it, they created two of them here. This is called ripping when you cut it. All right, so it's not going to be an actual 2 by almost anything at that point. But what we can do is we can actually, we want to go at the angle of what the roof is. So we're gonna take this like that, put that in there. We can even copy the drywall now if we wanted to. Copy it right to here. We'll bring that over. There, doesn't matter if it overlaps. I'm going to draw a line in here. That's going to represent the edge of my piece of wood. I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy. Copy it to this point. And now I need to explode this. The reason I exploded is because it's going to have an angled bottom anyways. Take this and bring it up to there. I'm going to take this one, bring it up to there. And I'm going to copy it again. From here to here. And this time I'm going to stretch it down. Okay. Actually, these are both exploded, so let's fix this up a little bit. I went a little bit too fast. So it's causing me extra work. Plus it needs to be down at this level. I'm just going to go ahead and stretch them down. Remove these guys and this guy. Stretch it down from there to there. And then bring my plywood all the way over. There. Be a little bit cleaner. All right, so I'll clean that up in a little while. Okay, there's our wall. There's our subfloor. I can draw a hidden line the same way that we did here and here. baseboard. I always forget that the mirror command is 2 parts. And you never really bring the drywall all the way down. There. Okay, we still got our clip right there. This is all inside to inside, so there's no need for any insulation there. And what we can do is, let's go ahead and get rid of some of these lines. Let's go ahead and draw our hidden line in here, which is going to represent our finished floor. And I don't think this has this occurring here. Now, what is important about these railings is that they extend sufficiently so that they allow you to be able to get a handhold when you get the first step and also at the end. So traditionally, in egress stairs, you would be required to bring this up and bring it across and back about 2 feet. Same thing on this side, about across and about 18 inches. But on residential, you don't really need to do that. But you want to leave something comfortable in there. So you could almost do this any which way. But as an example, I'm going to go ahead and move this one up about 36. Offset it 1.5. Fill it. And of course, I'm going to make them all the same layer. That was not what I wanted to do. Of course, you cannot do that here, but you can carry it as far up as possibly can. Take ortho off. This we can just close off here. We'll take care of this more later. All right, so let's go see how this looks on the sheet. I'm going to move it over to here. Pull this up to here. And try to trim all of this out. If it won't trim, just pull it over. want to do the same thing in here, just to minimize the distance. Some of them do, some of them won't. All right, let's save the drawing. Let's go to our sheet, AA section, Mr. R. Go to here. We're going to reload. I don't want to compare. Now what I can do is I can take any single one of these. I'm going to bring it over here. I'll highlight it, and I'm just going to drag until I find my section, and there it is right there. So let's go ahead and move this guy. Bring it in here. I still have to put some dirt underneath this, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. Let's see what it looks like in paper space. All right. Looks like I'm going to have more than enough room. Now this is locked, so I'm going to unlock it just so I can move this, take ortho off, and move it somewhere that's going to be allowing me to put enough notes all the way around and so on. I'm going to relock it. Put it up in there, and there we go. We're ready to go. So I'm going to stop my share, and I will stop recording.